It was a season unlike any other. A 50-game, 3-month sprint that resulted in an 8th-seeded finish. But from that 8th seed came a playoff run for the ages. A heart-stopping series win in Miami.
Houston down the lane, running jumper off the front rim and in with 0.8 of a second to go.
A stunning 4-game sweep of Atlanta.
Camby makes his move. Marcus Camby, what a play!
And against Indiana, a game-winning rainbow that dropped from the sky and into history.
I was not thinking about a three-pointer, but once I made that initial move and I saw I had that opening, I just let it go.
From the 8th seed to the NBA Finals. No team ever did it before, no team has done it since. It was 1999, and in every sense of the word, a season to remember.
Welcome to the 70th anniversary presented by Chase. I am Jonah Ballo, and today we are broadcasting live from Greenburgh, New York, and I'm joined by a special group here, the 99 squad that reached the NBA Finals. And let's go ahead and meet the panel. Of course, we know this guy, right? LJ, Larry Johnson, to my right, NCAA champion in 1990, the #1 overall pick out of UNLV, 2-time All-Star. He played from the Knicks from 1996 to 2001. Thanks, LJ, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Latrell Sprewell, before we get to you, we'll get to Allen Houston, 2-time NBA All-Star, 4th all-time leading scorer in Knicks franchise history, and played for the Knicks from 1996 to 2005. Thanks so much.
It's good to be here.
Good to see you, Allen. And now, Latrell, the 4-time NBA All-Star, member of the New York Knicks from 1998 to 2003. Latrell, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Marcus Camby, the 1996 National College Player of the Year, NBA Defensive Player of the Year in 2007, 2-time NBA All Defensive First Team, 4-time NBA blocks leader. He was a member of the Knicks from 1998 to 2002, and once again in the 2012-13 season. Thank you so much, Marcus.
Thanks for having me.
And finally, but not last, and last but not least, is Kurt Thomas, 10th overall pick out of TCU. He's the 1995 SWC Player of the Year, played for the Knicks 1998 to 2005, and then, of course, returned for that 2012-13 season. Thanks so much, Kurt.
Thank you.
All right, well, let's get this kicked off here. I want to go around the panel, and let's journey back to 1998, where actually no basketball was played. It was the lockout. What was going through your minds, each one of you, during that time, and not knowing kind of what the future was going to be and if you were going to have a season?
Well, I think for all of us, 50 games, and I think it was like a month and a half, and, we was having the players' meetings and all going to all those, but I think the main thing was just trying to stay in shape, not knowing when the season would start. They said that once we did miss the deadline, they was like, when we do get a deadline, we'll give you at least a month. It was like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. They were saying they'll get us to get into some shapes, which is not enough time to get into any shape. So for me, it was just trying to make sure that I didn't get too much out of shape, waiting on everything to start up.
Allen?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you have a long layover, you have a long summer, then you didn't know when to plan for. At least when the preseason starts, all right, October, this is when you're kind of gearing you up. So we didn't know when that time was going to be. For me, I just come off of microfracture surgery, so on the other side, it kind of helped me a little bit not get right into the season and kind of get my rehab, prolong that a little bit so I could get ready. But we were just trying to get in shape, trying to play pickup, trying to play with each other, and just trying to figure out what that was going to look like.
Well, it was an interesting summer for myself because I didn't have a team at that point, so I was trying to figure out who I was going to play for. It was the Knicks, Miami, or Indiana were coming after me pretty hard that year. So, it was a tough decision for me. Obviously, I feel like I made the right decision in being able to play with these guys and go on the run that we had. So I'm definitely glad that I chose New York. But it was hectic though. I had a lot going on that year, trying to stay in shape, making sure I'm ready for the season whenever it started, but just trying to decide on which team I wanted to go to. I had a lot of decisions to make.
Marcus?
Oh, yeah, it was kind of hectic for myself because during that summer I had actually got traded from Toronto to New York, and then we had the lockout, so I haven't had any contact with the Knicks organization because of league rule-wise. So it was definitely tough for me not being able to play with these guys or communicate, but not getting on that court and get that continuity down as you would in a regular training camp per se. So it was a big adjustment. But I think we made the best of the situation.
Well, for myself, I had been out. I had 4 injuries in a period of 2 years. So I was just playing pickup ball, trying to do whatever I can to stay in shape. And then when I finally signed with the Knicks, I missed so much basketball. I was just ready to get out there and just show people that I could still play at this level.
You know, it was interesting, Latrell coming off of all-star appearances with Golden State. Marcus, obviously, and what you were doing on the defensive side of the floor for Toronto. What did you guys think as you were approaching that 99 season? They announced the lockout's over. You guys were going to have a 50-game sprint there to the finals. What was your thoughts on this team and how they were built and what you guys could do to help them reach the ultimate goal?
Well, for me, I just wanted to get back on the court. I mean, with everything that happened with me leaving Golden State, I was kind of in a situation like you, Kurt. I just wanted to get out there and prove to people that, hey, what all you saw in the media is not what it is. You know, you don't know me as a person, and I wanted to get here and let people really see the real Latrell Sprewell. So I had a lot of that going on for me in my mind.
Well, I was excited. You know, me growing up in Hartford, Connecticut, so I pretty much know all about the history of New York basketball and, the great tradition that's here and all the great players that we had on that team. So I was excited, to be honest. I grew up watching LJ, young UNLV teams. LJ was my guy. The gold tooth, the part in the middle of the head. Grandmama, he's my guy, man. Getting this started already.
Was that an age joke here? Is that what was going on here?
He noticed he said he grew up watching you, right?
Yeah, you heard that.
I mean, not like that, but, I like the amoeba defense, UNLV, all you guys. So.
He started early.
So I was a college football brat, and I always, loved the game, and LJ was one of my favorite players. Of course, having the opportunity to come here and play with Patrick Ewing, who's a Hall of Famer who's not here today, but he was also a big integral part of our run.
That was a big shift for you guys, with Patrick leaving, John leaving. Alan, you were here. What was the thought in the locker room as you guys were building up to training camp and getting ready for the season and bringing in the 2 new additions and how that would fit?
Well, you hear everyone kind of had their own unique story even coming into the season.
Yeah.
And so, we had a kind of a traditional culture and, of Jeff, and left a kind of a Riley type routine and style. So we had to find our own identity early, and that was tough. Getting used to each other, and they weren't just role players. All of those guys we were key pieces of the puzzle. So, Patrick was kind of battling injuries. And he was practicing every day, and sometimes he couldn't go as long. So we had to kind of make an adjustment very early. And when you start in late January, it's hard enough to get used to everybody and, early. So that was an adjustment. But I think it was a testament to everybody's just willingness to do whatever it took to make it work and to win.
I do have to ask, Michael Jordan announces his retirement in '98. Did that all of a sudden open the door? Did you guys think about that at all as in terms of maybe now it's time, the Eastern Conference can be ours and that championship?
I just know that we really didn't think about that much, because I'm thinking about how I can play with him and how we can play together. That's all we were really thinking about, how we're really going to make this work. But I think, Jeff and the staff did a good job of saying we have to have, first of all, a defensive identity. Because if we don't have that, then we're not going to ever give ourselves a chance. And I think that's really what held us on. Because I think we had to win like 6 out of 8 just to make the playoffs, right? So the whole season was really kind of, it was rocky, and we had to get through a lot just to kind of learn each other and figure out what type of identity we were going to have.
Well, one of the things, though, because Alan and I, we played the same position. So, like you said, trying to figure out how to get both of us on the floor at the same time and, let both of us get touches. LJ needed touches, and obviously Patrick had to have the ball as well. So, I think we did a good job of sharing the ball, playing unselfish basketball. That was one of the reasons I think we were so good towards the end of that season. We finally got a rhythm and just played with each other and played for each other.
Yeah, what was going on inside that locker room, Kurt? When the struggles were occurring, and how did the vets sort of get you guys through that period to get to the point where you could get to
That's
that?
That's the wrong guy to ask. That's the wrong dude. I'd have vet.
Well, basically, we had to listen to our coaching staff. We listened to Jeff, and we just realized, hey, we know who the first player of the game is going to be for. And once we got that call, turn 4, that's what we're going to start with. We're going to roll when everyone accepted that, and then we just will feed off of LJ and go from there.
Maybe I should go to LJ for that question.
Look, when we traded for these guys and got these guys, I looked at our team. I said, "Oh, Patrick, me, Al." I say, "Al, you're gonna have to be the one that's talking in the locker room for these guys." I say, "Oh," and I took so much flack from these three right here. These was my problem child right here. These was my dudes. These was my dude. Every road trip, this dude locker beside me. I said, "Why you put this dude locker beside me?" Spree kept me in check. And MC took care of me on the floor, and this one on the end. I'm telling you, every day at practice, I had to go against this guy. So, he was supposed to be starting. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in his eyes. Now, we're talking
Patrick had
he
to
was
take
a
a
starter.
seat,
No,
right?
both of them. Me and Patrick supposed to be on the bench. That was the two starters right
When
there.
I got hurt, Kurt started though. When I hurt my foot.
Hey, if I don't believe I'm a starter, who else? I can't rely on Jeff to just say I'm a starter. I got to believe within myself. And MC talking trash every day, thinking he's better than me. I had to show him that, hey, it's going to be a battle each and every day.
I really was better than you, KT. To be honest. Honestly, how we really got going, I just think with Jeff and his style of play, back in those times, those Miami, New York series, the final score was like 79, 76 and stuff like that. And I think we were stuck in that ways a little bit when myself and Spree came to the team. I think we were more youthful. No offense, Al. But we wanted to run and get up and down the court.
Oh, we wanted to run and get up and down the court.
When me and Spree came off that, I think we were coming off the bench.
It was like we had two teams.
Yeah, it was like when we came off the bench, we provided that energy.
Yeah,
I was playing with a lot of energy at the time. I was a whole lot younger than I am right now. But so I think we played with two different tempos.
Yeah, the second unit was more up-tempo. We came in and we looked to push the ball more.
No, we started rolling when that second unit came in and started pushing.
We just had a different tempo. You guys, we dumped the ball to you, go inside to Patrick.
Stop saying dumping the ball to me.
That's what we did.
Dumping it to me. Stop that, man.
That's how we're going to start.
I got one pass again. I got one play. That was the start of the game. I got a turn L, and that was it, yo.
Are you serious?
I ain't see that.
You got that play, but you also got the biggest play called for you on that 4-point play,
You know what?
too.
That wasn't this cat. You told me. Yeah, you told me. Yeah.
Do what you do.
Before we get to the shot, I want to go to the Miami series first. We'll kind of go in chronological order here. You guys win 6 of 8, race into the playoffs. As the 8 seed, you're going to face the number 1 seed, and of course, it's the Miami Heat, right? What do you think of that squad? I mean, the rivalry in place, the guy in the sidelines, Pat Riley, and of course, you have Patrick Ewing versus Alonzo Mourning, and some of the past history you had with Alonzo as far as playing in Charlotte. I mean, what did you guys think in that locker room when you finally knew that was the team you'd face?
I think we pretty much I think the basketball guys set it up that way. For some reason, wanted to make our road to the finals, that much tougher. And, both teams were mirrors of each other. We had similar personnel. We all pretty much ran the same plays. Jeff being a Riley disciple, all the stuff that happened in previous years with the on-court stuff. So it was fitting that we ended up playing them, and it was fitting that it went to a decisive game.
For me, I was drafted by the Heat, coming out of college, and Pat Riley was the coach, so I knew that system. Even though I ended up getting injured my second and third year, and I got traded to Dallas, but I knew the system. When I came to New York, it was just like, I was just very comfortable coming here, and just, the New York fans accepted me, and it was great.
It was like it's like you're playing against your brother. You know every tendency they're going to do, every play call, the terminology on defense, that everything was like the exact same. So it was almost like practice. And we knew it was going to happen. And it just, playoffs always come down to key moments and players just kind of figuring something out. And that's what ended up happening for us.
It was interesting, though, because the first 4 games were blowouts, right? Until you get to Game 5 in terms of that close contest where it comes down to the final shot.
Well, again, we didn't do as well as we expected to do. We had to win 6 of 6 or 7 at the end, but we knew we wasn't the 8 seed.
Right.
Nobody really wanted to see us. Right about that time we won those 6 games, we was clicking, we was gelling. Everybody got into their role and knew what we needed to do to win. And Miami, none of those guys really wanted to see us.
Yeah, we were playing with so much confidence. I don't think it really mattered who we played. I mean,
the number didn't matter.
Yeah.
So the final play, of course, Allen Houston's shot.
And then,
walk us through that.
But just to pick up on that, the other thing too is we kind of found an identity. Like the way that Marcus and Spree came in. Jeff, we had all been at a slow down pace team. where we kind of played more half court. And I think throughout the whole year, we kind of saw it coming that this was probably going to be the best way for us to play. And so, get credit to Jeff, like it kind of adjusted the lineups and the matchups so we could do that. So we kind of came into that series, and I think that it kind of threw even Miami off because they had a hard time kind of figuring out and adjusting. Because if we were going to defend, once we got the rebound, we really didn't think about a play. We just kind of played off of each other at that point. So, yeah, then it was just a matter of kind of late game. You just make some adjustments and you just make the best play you can.
And when it comes down to the final shot, did everybody know in the huddle that it was going to you?
Well, we didn't have a timeout. So what I remember is we always ran this same play for me to come to the top, and they knew it, and everyone knew it, and Dan Marley was trailing me, so I just kind of made a curl, and Charlie made a great pocket pass out of bounds, and so I saw Zoe sitting back there. I wasn't going to try to challenge him. I didn't feel like we had enough time to kind of figure something out. And I don't even remember shooting a lot of runners in my career, but you just figured out. Unfortunately, we got a good bounce.
What was going through your guys' minds when that shot goes up? It seems like eternity, right?
Yeah, it seemed like it bounced, hit the rim.
Yeah, it did. I think we all just try to crash the boards, Yeah, we were looking to see. For me, I was just trying to see if it came short or trying to get an angle on where it might bounce off if it didn't go in.
Offensive interference, right?
Well, I didn't want to get offensive interference exactly, but still, if it didn't go in, I was, trying to position myself to get a tip-in rebound or something. But, like I said, it bounced a couple of times. It felt like it was slow motion. And when it went in, we all just took off running down the other end. So it's a moment we'll never forget for sure.
What was the feeling inside the locker room after that?
Leaving there?
Yeah,
Beating them?
Yeah, we were
kidding
just
me?
juiced.
Totally excited. Totally excited. The locker room was just going crazy.
Yeah.
Off the chain.
I think the best feeling I had just seeing how stunned their fans were. They were just like shocked that even happened. Just knowing that we beat the number 1 seed like that.
Was that was Miami, right by a locker room right across? They had like a VIP locker room, and you was like J-Lo and Rocky. They all Rocky walk up in there. Yeah, go home, home.
Yeah, they were upset.
Fight him. It was right across from the locker room.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's quickly move to the second matchup of the playoffs, which is interesting because nobody really talks about that matchup against the Hawks, who had a formidable squad. Dikembe Mutombo, obviously there, Mookie Blaylock, Steve Smith, and you guys sweep them. You just clear them right out.
Well, I think we were just on such a high after beating Miami, and they were the best team. We felt like if we knocked the best team out, who's going to stop us at this point? We were just on an emotional high, and playing with so much confidence at that point, I don't think we even thought twice about losing to them. Once we got the first couple of wins on the road, we had to go there and we got the win, the first one on the road.
We went from Miami straight to Atlanta.
Yeah.
We didn't even come back here to New York. We went straight to the ATL.
But it was like we were playing at home. We had so many fans there in New York.
Our fans traveled with us.
Go Knicks, go Knicks. So
Same
we were
thing
very
in Miami
comfortable.
too, though.
Yeah, in Miami also.
A lot of New York fans.
Miami's all anyways.
Now, there was a dunk I think you had on Dikembe in that series, right?
One of the many I got during my career.
No finger waving in his face?
Yeah, during that time, Mutombo was probably the best defensive player, center that we had in the league, and he was always known for blocking shots and throwing up that finger. And we're just one of those players. I wish Herb was here today, Herb Williams. He was a big part of our team behind the scenes also. We love Herb, and I told him that I'm going to catch him in series. I'm going to catch him in series. And I saw that lane open up, and I just took off.
All right. So then the Pacers are waiting. Another rival, too, in this history between the Knicks and Pacers. What did you guys think about that team? Obviously, you're coming off of a high of beating the Heat and the Hawks and cruising into the finals here, the Eastern Conference Finals. What was the thoughts in the locker room about that matchup?
I think it was similar. Again, they played a very similar style that we started off with the Davis, and then you had Mark and Reggie, and so it was kind of a similar matchup, but we felt like our speed and our intensity was just too much. And we won the first game on the road of all three of those first series, and I thought, and I know in my head when we talked about it, like we win this first game on the road, then it's going to be really hard. It's going to be a big problem, and so we just kept gaining more and more confidence and rhythm.
You know, in the media, it was portrayed pretty much as Patrick trying to chase the title, Reggie trying to chase the title. Did you guys feel that sense that this was a opportunity for one of those two guys to get a ring?
I think we were all just playing for each other anyway.
For Patrick, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely not for Reggie, but I mean, at that point, we were all playing for each other. We're just, obviously we wanted Patrick to get a ring. But I think we all wanted a ring at that point. I didn't have a ring.
Wanted one.
Yeah, so it wasn't just about Patrick. I think we wanted to do it for New York as well. I mean, we had so much pride in being able to be Knicks players. So I think we wanted to do it for the city as well as ourselves.
Okay, I asked a question about those series in terms of Heat, Hawks, Pacers. Which was the most physical, and where was the hardest place to play out of those three?
Say the Heat.
Miami.
I would definitely say Miami, because we knew each other. We just basically we mirrored each other out there on the floor, just different players. But it was definitely very physical.
I say Indiana.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, them two
Davis boys.
Yeah.
Davis
the
boys.
Davis boys.
Davis
Don't forget
boys.
Smits.
He's a big boy too.
Just a reminder, that Indiana team, Mark Jackson, Reggie Miller, Rick Smits,
Jalen.
Dale Davis, Chris Mullen was on the squad, Derek McKee, Jalen Rose, Sam Perkins, Travis Best. I mean, they were stacked.
I think Indiana was the toughest because they not only had the size and the physicality, but they had the skill too, and they could play so many different ways. They could, you had Reggie and Mully coming off screens, and they could post up. They could do so many different things. And then on the road, I think it was a tougher place to play on the road as well.
What happens when Patrick goes down and you guys know you will not have him for the remainder of the playoffs?
I think that's when that speed, that's really when, like, this guy here took off. That's that speed just kind of, I thought that was the difference. Miami was still stuck. Pat was still stuck in that slow down mode. When he put that second unit in there, I think that's what got us over the hump. Same thing with Indiana. I thought the two best teams in the East that year was us and Indiana. I thought Miami kind of, they was well coached and they creeped up to their first place, but I was a little bit scared of Indiana when we played Indiana. But when Pat went down and this guy came in, Smiths couldn't keep up with him. They had nobody to keep up with him.
Did Patrick say anything to you when he went down in terms of advice or?
He was just like, just go out there and play hard. And it's a tough situation for myself, being when you have to replace a legend like Pat. Similar how I got here. I got traded for a guy that's loved here in New York and Charles Oakley. So I always found myself being behind the eight ball, having to work extra hard to feel accepted and to find my niche. And that was my motivation. I always knew I can play at this level. I did it my whole life. I did it in college. Coming here in New York, I wanted to do it on the biggest stage possible. And, I had a great team around me. And, collectively, I thought we did a great job.
Okay, along with Allen's amazing shot at Miami, we also have the 4-point play in Knicks history. We've talked about this every year, I think, since I've been here, and it's been all over Madison Square Garden. The story has been told. What do we not know about that shot?
I think we know everything. I think we got it. I think we know everything. Except I said some we don't know that. Like the play was called for Al, of course. Yeah. And we walked out of the huddle. When we walked out of the huddle, Marcus grabbed. I don't know if you remember. You remember this, bro? Yo, this coming to you, son. This coming. Man, let me go, please. I'm not getting this ball. This ball coming to you. It's coming to you. All right, it better not come to me, because if it come to me, I'm shooting it. I was in that situation in college where I didn't shoot the ball at the end, so Al popped open. I think even Spree popped open. I'm like, no, y'all not getting this one. I've been in this situation before, and it didn't turn out once I passed it, so. Yeah, I think them two kind of sort of popped open. I could have passed it, but I wasn't doing that.
No, you did the right thing. You did the right thing.
I think when he made the shot, though, I'm sitting there like, well, you came up to me, I was like, I still got to make the free throw. He's like, hold on. I got to make the free throw because we're all excited. Yeah. And you're like, hold on, it's not over yet.
I think Chili had grabbed you during that time. Chili had grabbed you.
Because I was done. I was fried. I ain't know Chill grabbed me. Like, yo, no. Yes. Yo, you got a free throw. What are you doing? Because I'm about that. I was down here at the time. Oh, man, what are you doing? You got a free throw. I was like, oh, it's not over. And then by that time, I done regroup. And if go back, y'all seen the free throw, fellas? Al, you seen that free throw?
Of course.
I shot that thing like KT. I was trying to get that thing out of my hand, KT. That was some pressure, KT.
Well, that's pressure.
That was the worst free throw I've ever shot.
Yeah.
I think in the Garden legend or whatever made that ball. I had no idea how that went in.
What was the feeling after that dropped? I mean, how did you guys then react, celebrate?
Did you throw the L up?
No, I ain't throw the look, KT. I ain't throw nothing up there. I ain't throw nothing up. I thought we was, what was that, third game of the series? So we knew we was in. We was sitting pretty. We stole the first game there, and their goal was to come to New York and steal the first game, and then you'd have like a series would be square. So for us to win that one, we was sitting pretty.
26 points. Marcus had 21 in that victory. Really just an incredible victory for you guys. So after you capture the win over the Pacers now, we can talk about the NBA Finals and the Spurs. Really not known as the Spurs as we see them today. That was probably the first step, right? Would you guys agree with that statement in terms of their dynasty that we see now?
I certainly say it began.
Yeah, it began it for sure. Absolutely.
You had Dave and Tim was a rookie.
That's the first time you see how good Tim was.
Yeah.
I mean, him just I hated seeing him shoot that little shot off the backboard. I mean, there's nothing you can do. He's just his size and his height.
We could have put Marcus on.
Yeah, it wouldn't. Well, they had the Twin Towers, so with David in there. So I mean, I felt like though if we had Patrick, we would have definitely had a better chance. So I think that's the one thing I took away from that finals is not being able to have Patrick there. We needed him at that point for sure.
But LJ, you were hurt that you were injured too. Right? You had a hamstring.
His back was hurt.
Back.
Had to guard Tim.
Right.
You know,
Keep going.
I didn't need that. Yeah, and I had to hear it from this guy right here too. No, yeah, you're right, Kurt. My bad.
It was good.
My bad.
With Jeff there on the sidelines and what was going on with that team that year and Jeff being the head coach, he seemed to embrace the underdog role. Did you guys feel that way? Was that something that he preached in the locker room? What was your relationship with Jeff?
I had a great relationship with Jeff.
Oh, yes, he did.
I had
The best.
Yes, he did.
That's my guy.
If you haven't noticed, LJ was Jeff's favorite by far.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You disagree?
He shouldn't. He shouldn't.
No, disagree. That's my dude. But Jeff was, you know what? You know why I love Jeff, man? I love the work ethic. You know, sometimes we would come in here at 5, 6 in the morning. Jeff would be here, bro. You know, Jeff work ethic, man. I mean, if you got a head coach that's gonna put that in, then that should trickle down. That's what I thought. You know.
I thought the thing that made it, Jeff always had this mentality of it's us against everybody. And he just made us feel like, okay. And I think it was really what helped us kind of get collected and get unified so early is that we worked hard, but we knew that it was kind of us against everybody. We were going to be underdogs, but we didn't feel like underdogs. You know, we kind of took that, embraced it, but we didn't feel that way. So, like El said, he made sure that we all were held accountable. Nobody was able to do anything more. I mean, people got more shots and things like that, but if it came to doing your job and getting your assignment on defense or whatever it was, everybody was held accountable, and nobody kind of was able to take a possession off. So I think that's what helped us all take on that role.
Yeah, well, for me, it took me a while to warm up to Jeff because I was used to playing more. Yeah, I was used to playing more of a up-tempo style game. So I would come down and shoot the first open three, and Jeff would look at me like, "We can get that shot anytime." I'm like, "Well, so it's a possession. I was wide open." So it's little things like that. I just had to learn the style and the way that Jeff wanted to play. He wanted to play a more half-court game, and coming from Golden State, going up and down with Don Nelson, I was taught the exact opposite. So it took me a while to embrace his coaching style. But once I did and got along with these guys, that wasn't the issue. But once I learned the system and really understood what he was trying to accomplish on the floor, I think that's when our relationship got a lot better.
Well, I think in my 17 years in the league, I learned the most from Jeff. I learned about hard work. I learned about accountability, and I learned about trusting your teammates. So, when I took that and instilled that in myself and went on with my career with that. And, he was, like Al said, he was always here working. If you go up to his office, he had a blanket and pillow in there. Some nights he didn't even go home after road trips. He would come right here into the gym and, watch film and make sure the game plan is ready for us to go out there to be successful the next time we step out there on the court.
Well, for me, I didn't really have a problem with Jeff. We got along well. But if I had to point out one thing, I just felt that I didn't get enough offensive plays called for me. You know, if I'd have got like 1 or 2 more offensive plays called a game, I think we would have had a really great relationship.
I remember when you were here for the 2012 season, I asked you what your nickname was, and you said the Big Sexy. Was that true?
What? What?
Yeah.
Remember we had.
Remember
he got the braids.
He had his three braids.
Remember he got the braids.
That's not right here.
The braids too, right?
Yeah, they were hard on me.
You made the change with the braids, right, when you came here?
No,
kept them?
No, not at first. I was clean cut at the beginning.
Okay.
He was going through
real low cut
through
on
something at the time.
I'm glad we
I
got,
just
I'm
made
glad
the
we got over
change.
that. Well, this is good too because we want to remember some guys that were a part of your run to the finals. The historic history, and Sahid Hamden is here in the audience, and longtime trainer here for the Knicks, and seeing you guys with him has been excellent to kind of reunite. And also Mike Martinez, we know Mike, obviously the trainer for the Knicks.
Longest tenured Knick.
Oh my God.
Equipment manager there for the Knicks, and the video coordinator Matt Harding, who's still with us in the audience too.
Brody.
These guys still here too. It's amazing to see, and for you guys to be back in the building. What is now that you can reflect? We're almost to the 20-year point. Hope you all be back for that celebration as well. But going down the line, what's your fondest memory of that season for you?
Well, the whole season, when you struggle like that and you overcome that, it wasn't a 4-point play. Of course, I'm going to always remember that. Allen shot, we're going to always remember. It wasn't that. This is how close I got with these guys, man. I mean, I hadn't seen like MC and Spree in a minute, and I see Kurt and I see Allen, but to see them and talk to them, see Charlie, it was that closeness, that knit that we bonded together. Didn't win it, had an opportunity to win it, but that's the closest I've ever came. And it was it's the closest basketball team I've been on other than college. The closest pro team I was on was with these guys.
I mean, I agree. When you go through something together and you go through some battles, like you just share something you'll never replace. I mean, like you said, even though we didn't win it, the journey that we learned so much about each other. I just think about sacrifice. Everyone kind of sacrificed. LJ, #1 pick, played in Charlotte, came over here and completely kind of adjusted his game, for us. Spree comes over just from a fresh new start, comes into a new situation, and just everybody just totally embraces him. MC, #2 pick in the draft, top 4 defensive player of the year for 4 years. And Kurt, I'm surprised he didn't tell us he led the nation in scoring and rebounding.
Thank God we didn't hear that line. I'm tired of that line.
We heard that like every
I led the league, and you did.
But you just think about like all the things that people kind of came together and sacrificed just to, make something better. So that's what I take from it.
Well, for me, it's easy. When we beat Indiana finally, just the feeling that I had when we won that game, knowing that we did it for New York fans as well as ourselves, I was just so happy, ecstatic at that point. I don't think I've ever felt that feeling on the court before, just knowing that we accomplished so much after everything we had gone through that year. To know we were going to the finals, obviously we knew the job wasn't done. We had one more goal in mind, but to know we were the best team to come out of the East, that was a great feeling.
Well, I think it's just the camaraderie, that we all had. Me and Spree was inseparable. We were together every day. And his daughter Paige is here. We were at his house. We're in his basement making beats. We thought we were rappers at the time.
From the street, Paige.
So yeah, we were inseparable, and just being around the guys, you miss that. You miss, like LJ said, the struggles that we had during the season, but also how we overcame a lot of stuff, a lot of adversities, the injuries, losing ball games. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I had the opportunity to play with Kurt on a couple teams. I played with him in Portland. He backed me up in Portland. I love you for that, Kurt. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we got back together here in 2012 and 13 with the Knicks, and I've been on vacations with him, and I see him, regularly, and I've seen Al recently, and I see Allen. We text a lot, and just seeing all the guys. I miss all the guys. Or when Patrick comes, when Hornets come in Houston, I make sure I go down there and try to see him. So, those are memories you can't erase.
I mean, we were just one big family. It was just great. We all looked out for each other. We all had each other's back, especially, that season because we had to play 3 nights in a row. That was, that was tough. I think a lot of people don't really realize how tough that really is. So you see 5 games in 7 nights now, 6 games in 9 nights, but to play 3 games back to back is really tough. So now those memories of us coming together, looking out for each other, and definitely me backing up MC.
Appreciate
was
that.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. This was an absolute blast to hear these stories. Our fans, I'm sure, really appreciate the insight and candor from you guys. For Kurt, Marcus, Latrell, Allen, LJ, I'm Jonah Ballo, and that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I'm Jonah Ballo for Knicks.com. Stay tuned on the website. We'll have all complete coverage with the panel today. Stay tuned on Knicks.com. And again, I'm Jonah Ballo.